Yo, yo, yo. So today I'm going to be ranking every Marvel Rivals character based off of like their skill expression and how much skill do you actually need to play the character properly. So here we go. We got the high skill to just Wanda. So I'll just start off with Scarlet Witch. You quite literally don't need the aim with this character. It's the easiest character in the game. So it's just spoon fed. But let's start off with Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock, I think it's a high skill expression. You gotta know when to use your bubbles properly between ultimates, and then you also just gotta know your positioning because you don't really got any movement. So it's pretty high skill expression. Cloak and Dagger, you don't need any skill. You could be a infant child, and you can just be throwing out heals constantly, and it just works because it's Cloak and Dagger. Like, you just throw out heals, and it's auto locking pretty easily. Jeff the Shark, it's also the same thing. There's just that you just walk around, throw bubbles on the ground, and then you go underground, run away, come back out. There's no skill whatsoever. Low key, to actually be really good at low key, it's a really high skill ceiling because you can place. First off, you have the know where your decoys are. You have to place your decoys in good spots to also double heal or even triple heal teammates. You can also place decoys to do multiple damage. So you need to know your decoy location, and you need to know how good to be good with the immortality, where it places and you just can't die, because you can save a lot of people with that. It saves ults. You have to also know the whole cast, because when you ult someone, you need to know all their abilities and their ultimate. So it's quite literally the highest skill expression you could possibly have on support. Luna Snow, I'll give it mid skill. It's not like spoon fed skill level, but like at the end of the day, it's not too difficult. You just gotta freeze when you're getting dove, and that's basically it. Mantis is kind of the same thing. You just sleep someone when you're actually, it might be even lower, because you just look on the ground and you sleep someone, and then you just throw out a heal or throw out a damage, and then it's pretty easy. So then Rocket Raccoon, it's low skill ceiling. Not much you have to do. You place down your respawn beacon at spawn so they could get health, and then you place your respawn beacon just like in a corner somewhere obscure from the enemies, and then you just hold healing. You're just a heal bot. It's pretty easy. Storm, to be honest, I think Storm has a pretty high skill ceiling. You have to, with a flying character, you can't just willy-nilly just flying up and shooting, because you're just going to get shot down. You actually have to know positioning and when to engage, disengage, and stuff. I think it's a pretty maybe decent skill ceiling. It's not the hardest character, but it's certainly not the easiest because of the flying mechanic. The Punisher, it's the most basic shooting character. You just shoot, go in your turret, shoot, and that's it. Maybe switch the shotgun if you get dove. It's pretty useless, no skill. Bucky, I think it's a decent skill ceiling. You have to know when to hook properly. There's also a way, if you quickly 180 after a hook, you can push someone into your team instantly. You also need to know when to, every time you use ability, it reloads your gun. You need to know which targets to choose with your ultimate. I think it's a pretty decent skill ceiling. Wolverine, I think it's got one of the highest skill ceilings in the game. You need to perfectly know how his dive works, what's his hitbox, what he can go in, what he can't go in for, how his ultimate works, how you can line up his ultimate, how to do stuff. I think it's just one of the higher skill ceilings. Black Panther's a high skill ceiling. You just need high sensitivity, but you need to really know the combos, because if you don't know the combos on the character, you will get absolutely no value out of the character. So that's why it's a high skill ceiling, because you need a pretty decent amount of skill. Black Widow, I'll give it a mid skill ceiling, because she's kind of bad, and she could be good if you know how to play her, and it's a sniper character. It's kind of hard in a game where there's so many dive characters, so I think it's medium skill, but it's nothing too special really. Hawkeye, same here. You actually need aim, and you also need no position. You can't just be stupid and just throw arrows down, and it won't do enough damage to kill anyone. So you need to know at least positioning and good aim, and then who you can beat, not be, how to get away from fights. So I think it's just mid. Hella, it's a point and click adventure. You can just look at someone, shoot them, and you do a billion damage. I wouldn't put it just there because you still need to know when to throw her stun, because her pull basically could like cancel ultimates, which is stupidly busted for no reason. I don't even know how they could count that as a stun. It's a pull, but she stuns, so there's some timing, but it's not really too high of a skill. Iron Fist, you need decent amount of skill. You need to know how to dive, know how to do his combos, know when to block, know when to heal, know when to climb walls, double jump. I think you need, honestly, I'll put him high skill ceiling. I think you need a pretty decent high skill ceiling to be good with him. Iron Man is the same thing as Storm. It's a decent skill ceiling. You still need to know how to play air characters, how to maneuver. So I think it's just decent. Magic, I think you also need a high skill ceiling. All the dive characters are mostly, you need pretty decent high skill ceiling to know how to, when to dive and how to do the combos, because there's like 4 different combos on Magic where you can one-shot people, two-shot people, do a lot of damage. So I think she's just got a pretty high skill ceiling. Moon Knight, I'll put him in low skill. He's not exactly no skill because you still need to know how to use his Ankh properly. You also need to know how to use his getaway card, his escape, his fly. So he's not like too brain dead, but like you can quite literally just shoot down a hallway and it just bounces off people and you do a bunch of damage. It's not the highest, but it's not no skill. Namor, I'll put mid skill. You don't need too much like knowledge. You just need to know how to place your turrets, which isn't hard, and then you just shoot. That's all you need to do with Namor. And I basically played Namor only. So you just need to know how the character works, and you'll be really good with the character. Psylocke, I think it's the same with the other divers. Like all 4 of these divers just have a high skill ceiling. It's really hard to get in, really hard to dive anybody, and you have to just know how to play her. Even though she could seem OP at times, I think she's still got like one of the highest skill ceilings possible. Spider-Man, it's the same thing. You need to know how to play the character, basically. He is fragile as fuck. He can instantly die. But if you know how to do his one-shot combo with the Venom team up, and just know how to play the character properly and know how to swing around, it's a pretty high skill ceiling. Actually, I'll put him at the highest just because his swing and knowing when to engage and disengage and how to actually get value out of Spider-Man, you need to have a really high skill ceiling to basically do anything with the character. Squirrel Girl, no skill. You can shoot down a hallway and just get random kills. You can just throw your stun. It bounces off a wall and stuns someone still. Her abilities is so spoon fed. It's one of the easiest characters in the game. Star-Lord, I think decent skill. You need to know how to actually play Star-Lord effectively. You need to know how his fly mechanic works, because if you can do fly dashes in the air, that's his like highest skill possible, highest skill ceiling possible. But everything else is pretty simple. But I think his jet boost is probably the hardest thing of his kit. Bruce Banner or the Hulk, I think you need a high skill ceiling for him. He could be very valuable and very effective if you know how to do his ultimate combo where you punch someone up, slap, dash, punch. Honestly, I think he might have a really high skill ceiling, because if you know how to actually properly use his jump to stun people out of the air, how to use his ultimate properly, I think he's got one of the highest skill expressions in the game as a tank, because you need to know how to basically play like he's really hard to play. Because you can also jump on walls, hold there, jump over, go in the back line, shield. You can also use your shield to time it with other ultimates like Iron Man ult. You can save people. You can do so much with this character if you actually know how to do any of the skills required. And then also Captain America, I think he's not at the highest, but I think you'd still need a high skill ceiling to perform anything on this character. You need to know how to dash cancel auto attacks to get max damage out with his melees. You also need to know when his passive procs, where if you hit someone 3 times, when to engage, how to get on the back line, how to make this character even work. You need a pretty high skill ceiling. Doctor Strange, I think you need decent skill. Just because he's like a shield character and you kind of just shoot, shield, block. I think the best part, you have to know when to use your shield against ultimates and also just counter the other Doctor Strange. If you just let a Doctor Strange walk through an Eye of Agamotto your whole team, it's basically cooked. So you just have to play your shield properly and then also your TP. So that's basically 2 things you have to worry about, and it's decent skill ceiling. It's pretty decent. Groot is also probably around the same thing. You gotta know how to place his walls properly, how to get value out of the character, how to know that when to place his walls, how to block off healing sites, how to get any value. So he's got a decent skill ceiling. Magneto, I think also with the Strange where it's a shield, is basically also pretty decent. You need some level of thinking, because his ultimate's basically his like hardest skill thing, where if you ult, you want to try to eat as much damage and know how much damage you need to eat and then throw it at the person doing damage. Like if you have a Punisher and the Punisher's ulting, you instantly ult and throw it at him instantly because he will break your ult instantly. So you got to know how much damage you can take, when the shield, when the bubble. So I think honestly he's a little bit higher. I think he's high skill expression now I'm thinking about it, because you need to know when the bubble, when the shield, because the shield isn't infinite, when to use your ult. So I think you need some high skill to perform on the character. Penny Parker, it's no skill. I'm sorry, but like you just place down your spawner around a corner, you place mines down, and then you shoot. And then if someone's diving, you press cobweb, boom, you stun them, and then you shoot. And then once you get another mine, you place the mine out, in a corner, and then you keep shooting. It's just a brain dead gameplay, and you don't need skill at all. Thor, I'll say you need decent skill. You need to know how to use his hammers properly, how to regain your hammers, when to use certain abilities, because all your abilities are based off of energy because of the hammer energy. So there is some skill, but it's not too high, but not like mid. I think it's a decent skill ceiling. And then Venom, I'll give him highest skill. Now here's why, because I think the swinging mechanic is already hard in its own. Also the wall riding, if you're actually good at wall riding or like wall running, that's a really high skill ceiling. And also just knowing when to dive, when to engage, how to make any value out of the character, and how to really perform on the character. You kind of need like one of the highest skills expressions possible, and to know how to play the character. And it's really difficult. It's really difficult to get any value, so you really need a lot of skill. Now there is 2 characters missing. It's also Elastic Woman, whatever her name is, Sue whatever, and Mr. Fantastic, or the whatever the dude is, the Fantastic Four. So I'll just say where I would put them. For Mr. Elastic Man, I would put him in I'll put him in decent skill, just because he you need to know how to go the big form, and then when you should go big form, when you should cancel it, how to grab people to clamp them together, when you should go into invulnerability mode, and then just knowing to ult when you're actually in tank form. So that's basically decent skill. And then also the healer Sue, whatever her name is. I will put her in. I'll put her in actually decent too with him, because you have to know when to pull people in, push people away, and you also need to know when to use the shield on people. So I think she's actually got a pretty decent skill ceiling, skill expression. So with that said, this is my tier list. Subscribe if you like nachos. Comment if I did good or did bad. Tell me what I did wrong or right. Like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.